Good morning. Greetings. Oh, not my best look, but I am fresh-faced and moisturized. Oh gosh. So, I just want to tell you that it is so fun to have this outlet. My imaginary friends kind of thing. So, very, very juicy topic this morning. What about all the times we've been disappointed by the human race, right? I remember the first time, and there are some people who are more sensitive than others. I'm probably one of those highly sensitive people that you're reading about on the internet. I used to be anyway, until I learned how to shield myself, how to reset my priorities, etc. So that's what I'm talking about today, is there is a real thing about being too empathetic, too sensitive to be, healthy. There are people, and I'll speak for me. I was so loving and so naive and so hopeful that even though I was experiencing trauma in my household, I had this, like all kids who are exposed to anything Disney World, or maybe it's part of being human. I truly, and part of my personality, I get it. I had this hope, this fantasy that when I got away from my family, when I got out on my own, I would be free and happy and be able to live the way I wanted to live. I had no real realistic common sense about how life might go. Right? That makes sense, right? Okay. So, then we get out in the real world, and one thing after another, the disillusion starts setting in. And one of the biggest shocks that I had, I don't know what grade I was in, maybe fifth grade, because I think we had a sixth grade graduation party, because then, I think so, I don't know, I think it was fifth grade. We were taught about the Diary of Anne Frank, however you say it. Very special book, very special diary. And I was traumatized. I didn't show it. I didn't talk about it. But I can tell you this. I was stunned. And this happened before I, of course, moved out of the family home. So I was devastated. I thought, if the world could be like that, when you take in consideration how complicated it was for there to be a rescuer, that the rescuers didn't come, the knight in shining armor I just got lipstick all over myself. Hold on. So I was heartbroken over it. It took me a long time to resolve or even start healing from that. It was horrible. I just had the hardest time wrapping my mind around it. So that's when I first was disappointed in the human race. That's when it happened for me. And the problem was that when you have never really been invited into the human race, you've always been told exactly what to do or else. You know, children don't handle that very well. It's just, that's a whole nother day. Today I'm going to stick with the point of being deeply disappointed by the human race and how complicated it can make it to find joy and to not get bitter, to even have good days, but beyond almost a cycle of being ready and willing and able to respond strongly to yet another disappointment. Does that make sense? It's exhausting. And that's why I think some people can't get out of bed. They've just been so disappointed and they don't know how to change it, right? I was like that. There comes a point where for me, I had a tendency to only see the bad in the world, and so I kept seeking a safe place. The problem with that was because of how I grew up, I was attracted to unsafe people. Weirdly, and if you study attachment styles, a lot of stuff on the internet about that, is that we are attracted subconsciously to the very people we were trying to win over as a child. Very interesting stuff. The problem is it's not possible to do that because the past is the past, right? So it's a never-ending cycle of emotional abuse and disappointment. Yeah, pretty sad. Pretty sad. Well, through a lot of therapy, I was able to tap into, because of the help I received, I was able to tap into the why am I alive? Why am I on this planet at this time? I got to face that and make some decisions about it. And as I was doing that, I was having an existential experience as I kept thinking about that, and I was overwhelmed by the question because of what I had learned through theology and studying other religions. I recognized that I had a pretty strong belief system when it came to how other people were alive because of God. And did not relate to that. God let me down too much. So this is also when I had the opportunity to explore what I really believed in as far as religiosity went. I had a therapist really push my buttons, I can tell you that. Holy cow. I have so many little tiny invisible eyelashes. That is kind of crazy. Yeah, kind of crazy. Anyway, it wasn't easy to resolve my anger at the human race. That's the takeaway, right? But then, as I was having these experiences, I kept having these memories of people who came into my life that were amazing. I remember when I got in trouble because I was partying on the street, what I thought, but what it was is I don't know that there was a real word for it when I was that age. I was homeless. So I was staying at different people's houses as a 13, 14-year-old. And I thought I was just out being independent, living on my own, but evidently some other people, older people who had seen it were like, this girl doesn't have a place to live. She's couch hopping. And so there were different times in my life where I realized, my God, there are some good people in this world. I mean, super good. So good. And I didn't treat them well. I was so independent that I didn't know how to treat anybody well. I was just worried about where I was going to stay, what I was going to do next, and don't get in my way. Yeah, I was one of those street kids. I know, hard to believe, right? That just shows I was so small and so vulnerable out there by myself, going from one clique to another clique to another clique, and one state to another state. I mean, my God, the luck I had. And all the people who protected me when I wasn't even looking. And that happened as miserable as my life was as a kid in school and how I was bullied. Oh, so bullied, especially by this one girl who I had to work on in therapy a long time. Oh, good God. Seriously. Took me a long time to... Whoops, what is this mess on my face? Oh, well. Oh, huh. I'll get that off. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what happened there, but I better correct it. Huh. It looks like I dropped my eyeshadow brush on my face. Okay, so anyway, I started having these memories of people who had helped me. Other students who really were there for me. Even though I was being bullied, there were times when I didn't get bullied by anybody because of these bigger kids that felt sorry for me, basically. And I started realizing, as disappointed as I was in the human race, I also was inspired by them. There were times when people helped me. I mean, went out of their way. Let me emotionally abuse them. Because that's what a mess I was. And yet, try to help me from even afar. Even if all they had was prayers. I remember being in the detention center like I said, I got busted for being homeless as a 13, 14-year-old and ended up in the Mary Davis home. It was a detention center for kids. And sometimes if a kid ran away or something in the area, they would put him there till their parents would come. But it was basically a place where parents gave permission to have their kids locked up, or the judge said they needed to be in the detention center for a while. Back then, your parents could sign you in. I don't know what it's like now. Anyway, I ended up living there I saw it as a jail at first, and then, it was kind of like home. I didn't have anywhere else to go, so they tried to put me in the foster system, but I was too old for most people. And the people who did show any interest in me, sadly, I had some therapy over that. All the dumb mistakes I made because I was too old for my britches and thought I didn't need anyone. And so I turned my back and ran away from some people who could have been amazing parents. Right? It's too bad. That's probably one of the main reasons I've never followed through with adopting. I came really close once. That's another story. But after that fell through, I gave up. Because when you, when you have kids from dysfunctional homes, they can be heartbreakers. Just heartbreakers. But that just goes to show how hard people tried to help me. It was my own hard-headedness that kept me from, and my personality, my past experiences that had me looking at the human race like they were failures. I didn't have a lot to balance it out. So when I learned about that book and was taught in class, I didn't have a way to negotiate juxtaposition of personalities. It's too bad. Anyway, I understand that there are a lot of people out there who are highly sensitive and have a hard time resolving when they get hurt. When they get hurt, deeply disappointed by someone in their life, and it sends them reeling. And I know what that feels like, and it can feel like it lasts an eternity. But there's a time when I recognized through this existential experience that not only were there some good people in the world, because just good people wouldn't help balance out the atrocities, right? So I had to remember that there were people who were brave enough with their feelings and emotions to help save my life, whether I gave them credit for that or not, whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 days, or 50 years of other people's parents loving me and being there for me, whether I wanted them or not. One of my mothers, that's what I call her, my main mom, my mom, just passed away recently. And she and her husband were a couple that, because I made friends with their kids, they were always there for me. Were they perfect? No. Was I always proud of them? No, because they were kind of hicks. It took me a while for me to recognize I was a hick too. Yeah. Anyway, that's power. Is evil and sadness powerful? Yeah. But wake up and get into reality. The love that's out there is incredibly powerful too. Incredibly powerful. So be part of love. And one way to be part of love, to continue being the type of person you want and the person you want in your life, is to recognize it, even if you don't benefit from it, even if you're just watching it. That's why I like channels like the Dodo Bird or Dodo or, you know, different things like that, because you get to see people helping other people help animals. I mean, it's so cool. And, you know, there's video channels of people helping people. And even if it's just money that they're giving away or helping them get on their feet, whether it lasts forever or not. Sometimes when we help people, they don't appreciate it. I know that for me. I didn't use the help that was given to me in the way that I was probably supposed to. And I certainly didn't remember it until I got older. You know, it's just... But there are some people out there who quietly, without fanfare, make themselves available. And if you look hard enough, you'll see it. You'll see it all around you. So I hope that you understand what I'm talking about. I've been kind of babbling and I got to get running. I got stuff to do. And I need to finish up my hair. So have a great day. And I'll see you next time. Oh, P.S. Keep looking for the love around you. The beauty. This life isn't about you being happy and safe all the time. It's about the adventure. The adventure. The journey of finding and enjoying and seeking and surmounting the challenges, the pain, the tragedy, because love wins. Love is the medicine. Love is the medicine. Stress is the poison, right? I don't know. We'll talk about it some more. It's a big subject. Have a great day. Mwah.